There is absolutely zero optimism within the Z community. They are labeling Ratcliffe as one of the most aggressive hawks in all of Washington.
A Ukrainian strike knocked out production at Russia's second largest gasoline producer, forcing the refinery to suspend the oil processing entirely.
Following Ukrainian drone strikes on August 26th, Russia's fourth largest oil refinery and second largest gasoline producer has once again halted crude oil processing, according to Reuters, citing 3 industry sources. Ukrainian forces struck production facilities of the Lukoil Nizhgorodok-Zhintez oil refinery, also known as Norsy, in Kostovo, Nizhny Novgorod Oblast on August 26th. The strike confirmed a hit on the target, followed by a fire on the territory of the plant, Ukraine's general staff said. The extent of the damage is being clarified. The overnight attack damaged several processing units, inter-unit infrastructure, and general plant facilities, according to Reuters. It is unclear how long the site will be offline as repairs are conducted. Lukoil, the owner of Norsy, now has all its major refineries in Russia offline because of Ukrainian attacks, according to Reuters. The Norsy refinery has an annual processing capacity of around 17 million metric tons of crude oil. It also produces diesel fuel, jet fuel, lubricants, and other petroleum products, including supplies used by the Russian military. The key facility lies nearly 500 miles from the Ukrainian border and has been shut down several times in recent months due to Ukrainian long-range strikes. Ukrainian attacks on July 3rd halted production at the NORSI site. Previously, the facility was reportedly forced to shut down on June 24th following a drone attack. Throughout the summer, disruptive Ukrainian attacks on Russian energy infrastructure have led to long lines at gas stations and fuel shortages across the nation. Kazakh Energy Minister Yerlan Akhenzenov announced on August 25th that Kazakhstan is set to process Russian crude and send 70% of its diesel and gasoline output back to Russia to help with the shortage. Russian propagandists are feeling gloomy after Ratcliffe's visit to Moscow. The so-called Z community sees Ratcliffe as one of Washington's leading hawks, so there isn't much cause for optimism. Political analyst Malik Dudakov says Ratcliffe is the man who causes Russia the most trouble. He oversees the sharing of U.S. intelligence with Kiev and, last spring, pushed for it to resume after a temporary pause caused by tensions between Trump and Zelensky. There's also a telling historical precedent. The previous CIA director, William Burns, visited Moscow in November 2021, just months before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Back then, he also discussed U.S. intelligence on the Kremlin's military plans with Russian officials. So visits like this to Moscow usually don't happen when everything is going smoothly.
There is absolutely zero optimism within the Z community. They are labeling Ratcliffe as one of the most aggressive hawks in all of Washington.
At this very moment, the situation in Ukraine has become the absolute #1 issue in our bilateral relations. And John Ratcliffe is the individual who is causing us the most significant problems in that particular area. He is the person currently overseeing all of the intelligence sharing operations with Kyiv, and he is the one who actively lobbied to resume those critical deliveries last spring following the temporary pause that was caused by the ongoing tension between Trump and Zelensky.
There's also some very telling historical background. The previous CIA director William Burns visited Moscow in November 2021, just a few months before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Back then, he also discussed US intelligence on the Kremlin's military plans with the Russian leadership. So, visits like that to Moscow don't usually happen when things are going well.
Former CIA Director John Brennan joins us to unpack CIA Director John Ratcliffe's unannounced trip to Moscow this week. Brennan says he presumes Ratcliffe was sent to deliver a clear message to the Kremlin. Stop supporting Iran, technically, militarily, and economically. But he doesn't expect Russia to be easily moved. Moscow feels emboldened in Ukraine right now, and it's watching Trump struggle to manage Iran. Brennan's read, if Russia does throw Washington a bone on Iran, it won't be for free. It'll be looking to cash that in for concessions on Ukraine.
Well, I think the Russians are not going to be intimidated at this point by Director Ratcliffe or by the United States. They know that Donald Trump is facing quite a challenging and difficult situation in Iran. Also, I think the Russians are feeling a bit emboldened right now in Ukraine, given the nature of some of the strikes that have expanded over the last month or two. So I think that Ratcliffe is going to find some stern faces when he talks to folks in Moscow. And again, I think the Russians may try to play hardball here. Again, if they agree to do something that is supportive of U.S. interests in Iran, they are certainly going to want to extract concessions when it comes to Ukraine, which is their.
Trump denied rumors that the director of the CIA was sent to Moscow because of Russia's plans to test NATO's resolve.
Can we put something to rest here? Because the speculation is crazy. The CIA director, ours, is in Russia. Rumors are saying Putin is going to test NATO resolve, all the way to speculation that is crazy. He's going to strike England, all the way to this is maybe the U.S. telling them about the Iranian sanctions, saying we're serious about them. Can you tell me why our CIA director flew in the middle of the night to meet with the Russians?
Well, none of the above. He's there on, very sort of semi-routine. I hate to disappoint people.
Dmytro Kuleba, Ukraine's former foreign minister, joins us with a striking account of the run-up to the invasion. Kuleba says that in late 2021, CIA Director Bill Burns flew to Moscow and told Putin directly, "We know you're preparing to attack Ukraine, don't do it." Putin denied it and demanded Washington force Kiev to comply with the Minsk agreements instead. Burns flew home, walked into Biden's office, and said simply, he is going to do it. Kuleba's point, Washington already tried the warning and deterrence approach once at the highest level and it didn't work. Because for Putin, war was never a response to be talked out of. It was the plan.
The other CIA director. The other director of the CIA, yes, I am talking about Bill Burns. He was over there conducting his various meetings, Then suddenly they informed him that there was going to be a direct call with Vladimir Putin. And at that particular moment, Putin was not even in Moscow. And essentially, the director of the CIA is naturally a highly respected individual in the eyes of a former KGB man, but he could have quite easily found a way to avoid that meeting entirely. Money while he was away on his vacation down there in the south, staying in one of his many sprawling mega palace residences, suddenly says, I am finally ready to have a direct conversation with him, a conference call, if you will. And Burns, the director of the CIA, is brought into the loop to facilitate. He arrives at the location and they make him sit down, positioned right in front of the receiver. I believe it was actually a video call, if I recall correctly. Yes, right there in front of the screen. And then he goes and talks to Putin and he says to him, my dear Putin, we fully know that you are currently preparing a massive attack on Ukraine and we strongly urge you not to do it. And then Putin tells him, an attack? Please, do not make my Iskanders laugh, never in my entire life. No? You really had better, he says, turning to Burns, you had better keep all of your Ukrainian comrades right there, these precious little protégés of yours, these pathetic little puppets that you are constantly pulling the strings of. I'm not quoting the conversation verbatim, of course I'm conveying the gist of it. You'd better restrain them and force them to fulfill the Minsk agreements and respect the interests of the to specific predetermined geographical regions. In short, he is categorically denying all these claims. That an invasion of Ukraine is being prepared. Burns climbs into the car, makes his way to the American embassy, heads to the airport, boards a flight, and arrives in Washington. He walks into President Biden's office. Biden looks at him and asks, what's the news?
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.